Today I'm gonna go over some case ejectors. I got online and I ordered two different ones. First one was from Inline Fabrication. I guess it cost somewhere around 50 bucks. I didn't get the full kit with the plate and the tray and everything. Just this is what I got. This little chute, which you're supposed to stick on there with Velcro. I didn't think that'll work because my press there is usually full of lubricant of some sort. So sticking a Velcro on there is not gonna last. Probably can use it once. It comes with this reverse turret rod that spins it clockwise instead of the OEM counterclockwise, and a little piece you put on there with a rubber that knocks the case around. So this is designed so if you have all four turrets, all four dies in your turret, you put the case in and then chip out, you eject, remove the primer, and you put your bullet, white powder, bullet, and crimp, and then the fourth die will kick it out. So we thought we'd try this. What I found was it doesn't really work good with, I guess, with four dies in the turret. And the reason for this is that that little nub that sticks out that ejects the round is kind of rubbery. So when it goes all the way up to the top, it just sticks. It sticks inside, in between one of the dies sticking down, or it gets mashed up in there and bent, and it just stays up there. So you gotta keep knocking it down. So it didn't quite work for me that good. And but it's totally adjustable. You can take it off, grab your wrench, and kind of adjust it for where it turns and how much it turns and all that. And it's even the rubber thing is at a slight angle, so you can turn it, upside down or right side up, sort of like an open end wrench where you can get different angles, so it doesn't stick. So I managed to kind of get it to not stick. You put some lubricant on your dies and all that, and it won't stick. But what I found was then it it cuts the rubber piece, and once it sort of nibbles away at the rubber piece, it actually becomes too soft to eject. So it didn't work for me at all. I don't think it's a total loss. I mean, if you like to tinker with stuff and don't mind spending the time doing it, or if you had just maybe one set of dies where you don't have to keep, adjusting it every time you change the dies for a different caliber, it probably would work for you. I don't know if I definitely wouldn't order it again. And I think it was about 50 bucks for that set, and it could work. It just didn't work for me. And then, so the next one that came in, because I ordered two different ones, was this. I got this on eBay. It looks like a pretty good thing here. This is designed for if you only wanted to maybe, deep prime and size, and batch do it, which is what I pretty much do all the time, unless I'm doing rifle cartridges. So this one looked pretty good. It had this little ejector with four little nubs on it. So every time you went up and down, it would turn. The only problem is it wouldn't turn. It just went up and down and up and down and up and down. So it's like, oh, this is very strange. There's not much you can tinker and adjust, but I figured out how to make it work. I mean, it just goes up and down and up and down. But if you use either lubricant to make it more slippery, that rod, or use some wax to make it more tacky, you can actually make it turn like it's supposed to. It's like, oh, I can make this work, but maybe you can make it work maybe 70% of the time, which is pretty good. I guess it's still slightly better than manually doing everything. But the problem I ran into is because there's four nubs on there, after it ejects the case, the next nub is kind of in the way, so you gotta move the nub out of the way, put the case in, and then cycle the ram, and then it comes down, it'll knock the case out. Then you gotta move the nub out of the way, put the round in, and so I thought, oh, this is kind of counterproductive. I mean, if you just took everything out and just flicked it out with your finger every time you dropped a new case in there, you wouldn't need it. So I tried to use it, but I guess some of the wax wore off the shaft and started sticking again and not turning, and then it got caught on one of the shells and one of the nubs broke off. So now I got three nubs. So I was like, yeah, that didn't work out. And so I trashed that idea and I went on YouTube like everybody else and I did some searches to see maybe if I could find I was doing it wrong or somebody had some pointers, but nope, couldn't find anything. But I did find this video of some ejectors that people made with a piece of, I don't know, little piece of sheet metal that went back and forth and knocked it off. And I thought, darn, that's a good idea. So I started making it myself, but I found out that it only works if you take off that collar on the ram. So it's like I didn't want to keep taking the collar on and off the ram every time I did it because it rode the ram and that's what guided it. So I thought, I might as well just make something else. But based off of that idea, I just found some parts around the garage that the collar, so the collar can stay on now, because the whole idea was to use the top 50% of the ram stroke, so I don't have to go all the way up and all the way down. So I found these strut connectors to connect poles to struts. You can find it at Home Depot for like $1.50 or whatever. And I think I used one of those wall pegs. I just bent it, stuck it on there with some rubber bands, and I put it on. Then I took a piece of, I think it's stainless, a piece of metal, bent it so it goes up and down. So now I could use the same idea, only it didn't ride on the ram. It rode on this bent piece of a pegboard, a peg, instead of the ram. Kept it off the ram so I could keep the collar on there and didn't have to take it on and off every time I switched back and forth. Because I use this turret for a lot of things. So this is what I came up with. It's still prototype, like all my videos. It's like the first time use kind of a deal most of the time. So this is pretty much the first time I'm trying it out. Kind of get into it. It's just a stainless bar that's bent in an S shape, and it's just held in place by magnets. So I can adjust it. I still have to work on all the bends, but the basic principles or concept is there. Just nothing's permanent yet. See, right there, I'm still kind of bending and trying to figure out the best way to do it. Try and get you a better look in a little while once I get it adjusted here. It's still trying to adjust it a little bit. I think every time I use it, I'll probably end up adjusting it just a little bit until I get it just perfect, and I'll figure on some kind of jig to mount it more permanent. It's still removable. Okay, I think I kind of sort of got it. Now it's just the problem with this little carabiner I stuck in there. It's getting in the way, but I'll figure out something else for the carabiner at another time. I just used it because it's easy to go on and off, but probably gotta make something. The carabiner is kind of blocking where it falls off. I guess if the round hits it the wrong place, it may fall off in the wrong direction and end up on the floor. So we'll still work on that carabiner, but there's a little better view of what it looks like now, I guess. You can kind of see the pegboard peg there. It's just held on by, I don't know, some rubber bands, or it's pretty much prototype. And then there's that little stainless piece of metal. I think I took it off the fire extinguisher rack. I think that's a strap that holds a fire extinguisher. Then what's holding that down is just the magnet is just on top of that. piece of stainless strap. Everything's still sort of temporary, but that's kind of what I got right now. I haven't done a lot of these yet, but there's probably about 700-800 rounds there in that little bin. So I'll have a better idea after I finish a whole bunch. But yes, yeah, I'm still messing with that carabiner. I'm gonna have to figure out something. I'll probably just end up just cutting off half of that carabiner, as soon as I put the camera down. But for now, this is what I got, and this seems to work the fastest, easiest. And if I had to buy all the parts, I found this lying around the garage. If I had to buy the parts, probably would cost me about $2 to build. So if you're looking for a case ejector, I kind of probably recommend something like this, because, well, the other ones, the commercial ones, I don't think it's worth the money. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but this one's like you can build from stuff lying around the house. So this would be my recommendation. Hope you enjoy.